Join us for a review of the Volvo XC60 R-Design Mild Hybrid. Let's go! Here in the front we have the R-Design today, that means stronger spoilers in the lower part and this black dot style grille. Of course there are other grilles available if you don't go for the R-Design. Also adds of course something more to the price. LED headlamps in this Thor's hammer design. They come with mid-trim, or then are also included then in the higher trims or optional for the base trim levels. Here then we do have them actually. 4.68 meters, 15'4" or 184 inches is the length. And from which side I'm entering the stage today? From here. Hello. Then wheel sizes are from 18 to 22 inch. These here are 21 inch wheels. Can the air suspension, the optional one that we have mounted here today, even out this very huge wheel comfort-wise? We'll find out in the driving part. In the rear we have this typical design here of the Volvo Estates or SUVs with this vertical tail lamps here that in this case then, in this new generation, go around right here. Pretty interesting idea. Engines, all 2-liter 4-cylinders, but there is some variation definitely. So the new turbo petrol mild hybrids are called B4, 5 and 6. So in the very 197 horsepower, 250, that's the one you see here, and 300 horsepower. The first one front wheel drive, the second one, this one here, optional all-wheel drive. Here 6.9 seconds is the acceleration figure, and 300 horsepower always with all-wheel drive. But at the diesel side, there are also MHEVs now, and they're also called B4 and 5. So yeah, not really logical to me. But then you get also D, the normal diesels, non-MHEV, yeah, either 150 horsepower or 190 horsepower, and the mild hybrids 197 or 235 horsepower for the diesels. Yeah, and then there will be plug-in hybrids, T6 and T8, petrol plus electric motor, and then also with charging. Inside of the doors is, let's say, somewhat soft touch. The overall nice handles and so on. Optional Bowers and Wilkins sound system that has this special sound setting. Soon more to that. New R-Design styling is here this bright fabric, and we also find it on the seats. They are not black, by the way. It's rather a gray tone. I think that's quite, I mean, gray or a little bluish note or something like that. And then what's really not logical is, I mean, here we have the nice R-Design stamp, but then before you had black Alcantara on the inside and then some animal skin sadly on the outside, but now it's the other way around. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, the fabric looks nice and feels great, but here where you sweat in summer and where it's cold in winter, you have the animal skin, and then outside you have the breathable fabric. That makes no sense at all. And also look how the interior finishing is done here. That's really very poorly done. So I recommend, when you have them in your market, especially EU markets, Germany and UK, there are fabric seats available, black or fabric leatherette mix, and there's also a so-called city weave. There's like a bright fabric leatherette mix. We had it in the V60. Here you can also see it, how it looks like. It's special, yes, but it's really awesome as a special design. Sadly, yeah, I have to say, get the past R-Design version from the previous model year, then you can get at least some Alcantara on the inside. Then let's get inside. Mid-size SUV, so you already have a, let's say, sophisticated feeling in this vehicle. With 1.86 or 6'1", you have also enough headroom, even though we have the optional panoramic roof here, which you can also open. I turn on the ignition, and you can also open it quite wide and leaves a lot of light in the interior, definitely. Manual control here for the steering wheel. It's also a nice smooth process and goes really wide in and out and up and down and so on. Interior overview with a beautiful Scandinavian design. Here this swinging structure. This is here somewhat, and this is also somewhat soft touch, so not super soft but also not hard pack, something in between. I think it's totally fine. Here the option Bowers & Wilkins sound system with the additional speaker right there. And on the right side you can also see this silhouette of the Swedish flag, some nice detail. And speaking of the infotainment system, here once more with the camera. Here then for example the rear view, and the resolution is also quite good. So then on the top part you can go to the settings, and then that you can swipe left, and then you can for example activate the headrest fold. I'll talk about that fun feature very soon. Or head-up display adjustments and so on. And here all of the assistance systems you could theoretically deactivate. On the right layer then you can access the Apple CarPlay or the sound experience. And this is so cool. Here I always drive with the concert hall mode in the Bowers & Wilkins sound system. Studio is more coming from the front. Also with stage for example, and concert hall is really like this surround. This is really very cool. You see here the Apple CarPlay integration, then in this case yeah, it goes here over the screen, and then you also have the other stuff, and then the GPS here. You can also make it full screen. Here we are, good to read. Responsiveness is somewhat okay, could be a little bit better. And for routing direction, it's okay, nothing fancy actually, but does the job. And we can only see everything of the virtual instruments when we turn on the engine like this. Then we have right side RPM, left side speed, digital speed as well. In the middle part, some additional info like, you know, who doesn't have a seatbelt on at the moment, for example. Or you can also have some GPS information in there, that's also possible. And this head-up display will give me the speed or the allowed speed, and also some GPS arrows when we have a route set. Now getting to the rear, actually the inside of the doors is as, I mean, it's not super soft, but as soft as in the very front part, so I think it's soft enough. Bright fabric inserts. Legroom wise here, I think it's quite good. I mean, we have enough space here, definitely for 4 tall adults. The rear bench folds a little bit downwards. If you compare, by the way, the Volvo XC40, that's better as for, you know, this exterior interior relation, so we have as much legroom as in the XC40 here. Difference is here the XC60 has the longer trunk. That's the main difference. Then headroom here, I have to put that head restraint up again. Headroom here gets pretty close, but still okay. You would have more if you leave out the panoramic roof. But then from the rear you have a great view too. The panoramic roof definitely. So what about that trunk area? Let's take a look at that. Electric tailgate. Also put some luggage inside. You can see the dimensions right there. And the length here is about 1 meter, and the width is actually way more than 1 meter, so that's excellent. So this is here, I mean in the lowest part not, but in the upper part it's like 1.15 meters. That's really decent. Then about the XC60, it's a good compromise because it's not too large on the exterior, but already on the interior you have a good upright full SUV size feeling in the mid-size SUV segment. At Volvo the case is that the XC40 comes very close because it is really high for a small SUV segment, where for example there is a bigger step between the Mercedes GLC and the Mercedes GLA. Here between the XC60 and the XC40 they don't feel too different actually. Again, that's just because the XC40 feels so big SUV-ish already because it's really high. I think that's actually quite good. However, here in the XC60, of course, a little bit, you know, calmer when running straight, longer wheelbase, you have a little bit more trunk available, and so on and so on. But of course, the XC40 would be the better price performance and the better package. However, here in the XC60, you always have a good comfortable ride, again with the good seating position and so on. The steering is rather dead, let's take it that way. So it's completely artificial. It's easy to steer, yes, but it doesn't convey a good feeling of what you're doing on the road. When you're in the driving modes, at the moment in this eco drive, there's comfort, dynamic, and there's also off-road at slow speeds to pump up the air suspension. Dynamic mode here gives a little bit more resistance, but still, it doesn't really change the characteristic of the car. So steering feeling, and therefore also then the felt agility is not that good. It's also not the focus of this vehicle. It's supposed to be comfortable. If you compare this air suspension here with an air suspension, for example, in the Mercedes GLC, the GLC one is more floating-like, softer, more comfortable, definitely. If you compare it to one in the Audi Q5, Audi more seeks the compromise between comfort and sportiness. You could rather compare that, but you feel that the air suspension they have here is a little bit worse. So it's overall, nice and okay and so on, but it's not that you will say, oh, it's the best air suspension I've been ridden in this very segment. For an air suspension, I'm actually even a little bit disappointed, so to say. It also reacts then a little bit on the driving modes, but still, in this eco or comfort mode, should be a little bit better, definitely. So now we're heading on to the motorway slowly and give you a different aspect about that vehicle. Sometimes, getting even a little bit rough, although we have the air suspension. And however, it's the same also when you go with the other suspensions. But I'm not really sure if it's then so worth it to go for that one in this vehicle here. The overview is very good. I like that frameless rear mirror, back mirror there, good overview to the rear, also the front and the side. It doesn't have like a super design oriented building form on the exterior, and that gives us a good overview from the interior to the outside. So now dynamic mode. Let's go to dynamic mode and let's accelerate from 50 kilometers an hour. Let's see. I have to wait a little bit. Now, let's go. That's 150 kilometers an hour. That shall be enough for this vehicle. It's no race vehicle, and here at about 150, I think it's still reasonably silent, so satisfied with that. And now let's drop it down to a more reasonable motorway speed, and that would be about 130 kilometers an hour. That's about 80 miles an hour, and I think that's totally acceptable. Don't have to raise my voice that much. Not the most silent vehicle in this segment, but also not super loud. There's a nice 718 Boxster right here. Driving this open top is really cool. Not too much fun on the motorway though, more on countryside roads and so on. Probably you've already seen the blind spot monitor, and now I'll induce that once more with that Mini that's going to overtake us. Seen our Mini John Cooper Works GP review, by the way? There it is. Blind spot monitor. Very nice integration, like in this swing, like this is almost like boomerang style. I think it's really good. Good fitting in the brakes as well. And now to our conclusion for today with the Volvo XC60 B5, the MHEV system here in this petrol engine. Our design definitely looks very fancy from the exterior. In general, the design of the XC60 is very likable. The aero design, of course, adds a sporty feature. However, the best option to go for is just Momentum or Momentum Pro, if that's available in your market, because it's the best price-performance ratio here. The aero design gets really expensive, and on the inside then, even more animal skin use for the aero design. So if you're in a market where you can get the fabric leatherette mix or the city weave seats, then you should go for that. As for engines, really interesting here because indeed the MHEV system does work. So far we had consumptions of about 9 liters on 100 kilometers, 26 mpg, 31 mpg UK. Now we're here at about 7 liters on 100 kilometers, so about 34 mpg US, 41 mpg UK, and that's definitely a big improvement. You can really use this recuperation, it seems. And as for the comfort in the riding, the wheel choice really matters here with the 21-inch wheels that really reduce the comfort, and we couldn't really profit from this nice air suspension. So 20-inch max I would really go. Better 19-inch. That's still, I think, the best compromise between the looks and the comfort. If you want even more comfort, then you can go even smaller, maybe with 18-inch. So, what are you thinking about our results here for today with the Volvo XC60? There are other XC60 reviews available, also the smaller one, the XC40 or the XC90, and of course the competitors, BMW X3, Mercedes GLC, Audi Q5 and so on. Tune into these reviews. We always link some in the video description or in the pinned comment, so see you there.